What on earth does meal prep have to do with gratitude? Well, today I'm going to tell you what it means to me and how I find gratitude in meal prep. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the forest. I'm glad y'all are here today with me. I appreciate it. Hope you all have had a good week so far. I've had meal prep on my list for a while to talk about just because it's something I really love and it's brought me a lot of joy, but in a way you might not expect. And so I just wanted to talk about that and get your all's view on meal prep as well, because when I first started meal prepping years ago, I stopped very quickly because I got tired of it because I can't eat the same thing 5 days in a row. So I'd make all this food, and I would try to eat it, and I just got tired of it, whether I was eating salads or stuff. And, it's important. The reason meal prep's important, eating well is important. Before my illness, I did it anyway for fitness sake, or at least trying to be healthy. And then now, since my illness, I definitely want to make sure that I'm eating well, but I live by myself and I don't want to waste food either. So, this meal prep concept has really helped me a bunch. And here's the key that I learned to make meal prep for me more successful is freezing the meals. So, I actually freeze them so that way I can save them for later. And I'm going to talk about a product today that I like. If this isn't a paid affiliation thing, I'm going to put their link in the description, but it's not like I get paid or anything for this. I just like talking about things I love. And the product that I use is something called Super Cubes. And it's a way to make meals and freeze them in portions that makes it a lot easier to reheat later. And once I started saving the meals I made in the freezer, it made it so much easier. That way I wasn't having to cook a meal and eat it within the next 5 days because I was always wasting food. And I want to show you some pictures of some of the things I've made, but in the end, the main point is that it is an act of self love because I love to cook. And then once I got out of the hospital, I couldn't cook. And I finally got back to where I could cook, but I felt like I was wasting the food. So I just happened to have these super cube things. I bought them a long time ago because I used to pet sit, and it was easier that way. But it just something clicked. And as I started making these meals recently, I really felt a sense like it was an act of self-love. I'm going to show you right now two that come in my mind that I made recently. I made big batches of soup. And it's kind of fun because it's a HelloFresh meal that I've talked about before. It's in my Lodge cast iron Dutch oven, and I'm using super cubes to save them. So let me show you a couple of these pictures that I did recently of batch meal prep that I did. And see, and I just love that. It has my three favorite things all together, the HelloFresh, the Lodge Dutch oven, and the meal prep. So here's the thing, and the other day I showed y'all a video, in the video when I talked about food, I showed a little HelloFresh meal I made, and here I want to show you that meal again. And then here's where I had frozen it in these super cubes, because see how it's layered and stuff? And then what I do is I can put it in a little vacuum seal bag, and I label it and put it in the freezer. And the nice thing about that is it saves. I mean, in the vacuum seal, it can save for a year. So while I'm making these meals, it feels like self-love. It feels like I'm taking care of myself. It's no longer just about trying to eat healthy, but it's also, it's like my current self making a meal that I know my future self is going to love and appreciate. And here's a little background story, kind of the history of this concept, where I learned it's sort of an act of kindness and self-love and caring for other people. When I was a kid, my aunt used to make these wonderful meals, and she would always save some of her meals and freeze them in these little old TV trays. And she would send them to my grandmother's house where I would stay on the weekends in the forest. She lived in the forest. And I just remember eating those meals that my aunt made, and it felt like they were made with love, and the way that she packaged them for us and saved them for us, it was just really, it meant a lot to me as a kid. So now, as an adult, when I'm making these freezer meals, I can save them and give them to other people. So I'm giving to others that way. And that we've talked about, you get back what you give out. And making these meals, giving them to my friends and family, it's a way to give to other people. Especially if you know someone, at least for me, I know people that are older and sometimes they're sick and they just can't cook. And so I like to make these meals and give them to them. And then also recently, I myself got sick and I just didn't feel like cooking. And it was so great because I was able to go to my freezer and get a package of, a meal of soup and heat it up. And I had a home cooked meal for myself that my past self had made for me to show love for me now. And, it really, I loved it. And my friends were like, hey, Brian, you're sick. Can we, bring you some food? You need anything? I was like, no, I got it covered because I'd already made these meals for myself. And so to me, summing up, it's it's an act of self-love. It's a way to give to other people. So meal prep, while it sounds boring initially, and I used to hate it because it was like, stuff for the gym and a chore. Um, Now it's become an act of kindness to others, an act of kindness to myself. So I hope you all think about that. I hope that resonates with some of you and all of you, anybody. It gives you a different perspective of meal prep. It's no longer a chore for me, it's a joy. I really like it. So leave a comment below and let me know what you all think about meal prep. And I'd love to hear it. And of course, please like and subscribe. It lets YouTube know who to send these to. I appreciate everybody being here. As always, I'm grateful for each and every one of you all, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.